Hi, welcome to How to Tap into a Multi-Billion-Dollar Market. This one strategy will get you more buyers and larger sales. Love owning and operating my own businesses. If you own your own business or you're looking to start one, then you'll want to find more customers, you want to make more sales, you want to get those profits going really quickly. As we know these days, business is tough right now. Um, Businesses have had to cut some corners just to keep the doors open. Okay, that's just a tactic. It's more of a delay tactic. So we want to find better ways, alternative ways to keep our business going, not just going, but growing. So as I said, I'm a business growth coach. So I specialize on strategies that help small business owners increase their sales, increase their income, find more customers. That's my business. So what I'm going to share with you today is one of the areas that I found to be significant help for small business owners. So at the end of this session, you're going to learn how to grow some sales. We're going to talk about a large untapped pool of customers to sell to, get customers to buy more products and services from you in bulk. And then we're also going to talk about something that's significant to small businesses. If you're not aware of it, I'm sure you've heard that the new administration, President Biden passed the infrastructure bill, which is now a law. And this is very beneficial to small business. So it's one of the things I want to get the word out. So we're going to talk about trying something different. So if you haven't uh, tried this strategy, I want you to be open to it, and I suggest you definitely give it a shot. I'm not saying throw away what's already working. What's already working, you keep doing that. But we're going to talk about another strategy to add to your arsenal to help you grow your business. Right? So, trying to grow a small business is different than trying to grow a large one. If you're a large corporation, you'll most likely have lots of cash. You can throw at any kind of problem. You can market. You can spend thousands of dollars in marketing campaigns. You can hire more sales reps, stay up on buy up your competitors, and you can do a lot more. So if you've got those kind of funds, this seminar's not. However, if you're a small business or just an entrepreneur just starting out, those options are smaller, but you do have options. You've got to be more targeted in how you intend to grow your business. And let's be honest, you don't have the luxury to figure things out as you go along. Give me one moment. I think I have someone that's having a problem getting in. Let's see if we can help. Just give me 1 second. Okay, we're back. And hopefully you can see the screen. If you're having any problems at all, again, please use the chat box on, it should be on your right on your screen if you're in by desktop. But getting back to where we were, um, you don't have the luxury to figure things out as you go. You've got to use, or you want to use, proven strategies that will work for you. Strategies tailored specifically for your small business that can help you grow. And that's what I'm going to show you. That's what we're here for. There's basically 5 ways to grow your business. You can make more sales, right? You can get out there and push and just try to make more sales. How do you do that? There's a number of different ways to go. You can find more customers to sell to. Okay. So if you find more customers, you're making more sales. You can get your current customers to buy more often. So let's say you're a carpet cleaning business. And your customers get their carpets cleaned maybe once a year, once every 2 years. So you know, buy more often means maybe every 6 months. Somebody talking to that. Another way is you can get your customers to buy from you more often, buy more items. And then, of course, you can charge your customers more money for the same product or the same service that you offer. Of course, you want to show more value for that. But those are pretty much the chief 5 ways you can grow your business, right? Each of these methods will work if implemented well. But for the purposes of this session, we're going to focus on the first 3 ways. Make more sales, find more customers, and get customers to buy more. This one strategy will help you increase your sales, find more customers to sell to, and they'll buy more. It's as simple as that. So let's look at that, focus on those 3. What if you targeted customers that you were sure they wanted what you sell? Buyers that need your product or service and who also want to do business with you. What if I told you there are buyers out there right now who are actually mandated to buy from you and have quotas to fill? Would that interest you? I'll even take it one more step further. What if those same buyers who want to buy your product or service also want you to be successful and will help you in selling to them? Yeah, I know. Sounds too good? No, it isn't. It's actually all true, and I'll tell you who they are. Yep, it's all our favorite uncle, Uncle Sam. The federal government wants to buy what you sell, and it's not just the federal government. So I'll talk about Uncle Sam, and then we'll talk about commercial services, general business. So your tax dollars at hard work. The federal government buys over $500 billion a year in goods and services. 23% of those contracts for that buying business goes to small business. It's slated for you guys. That's $115 billion each year. Now there's quotas set. As you can see here, there's 5% to disadvantaged small businesses, or 8A. We'll talk about that later on, what that means. 5% is set aside to woman-owned businesses. 5% to small business set-asides. 3% is set aside for service-disabled veterans. And 3% is set aside for HUBZone small businesses. Each one of those we'll talk about. But those programs, why the government's put this in place? These programs are designed to help and grow small businesses. So these are special designations called certifications that you can use and leverage to your advantage. It's going to get you larger sales. And my favorite bullet is the second one. Get paid in 30 days. Now, everything has to be lined up. You have to invoice properly, but yes, they pay on time. That was my favorite part of getting my certification and contracting with the government. Getting paid on time. Maybe some of you haven't had trouble getting paid from your clients. I did. But if you're like me, yeah, that was one of my favorites. But you get a seat at the table with the big firms, right? You get to sit with the big wigs, the large corporations as well. You also get to subcontract to larger primes. So if you're a little worried about, or if you're thinking, oh, this is too big, I'm a little afraid to try to contract directly, guess what? There are large firms, large prime contractors who need to sub some of their work out to small certified businesses. So that's another way in. All right. What I love is it's a constant influx of business. You're going to see that no matter what, the government is always buying these goods and services, even during good times and bad times. During a recession, depression, they are still doing business. You're also eligible for financial assistance in the form of low interest loans, grants, and other vehicles. It doesn't get any better than this. So again, over $500 billion a year in goods and services. You need to know that a small business owner gets 23% of that. So again, that 115 billion goes to you guys. One of the most important and strategic decisions you can make going into 2022 as a small business owner is to get your certification. Get certified as a small business. Small business certifications, those special designations, help you to get access to customers who are going to buy your goods and services, and they're going to buy in much larger quantities. So just one of these contracts could possibly be 10, 20 times the size of your normal customer, and you can qualify to get that business. The small business certification guarantees you a seat at the table, and you're able to compete with those large corporations. So what might your next question be? What do they buy? So what does the government buy? Well, the simplest answer is just about everything. Just like the commercial and residential sectors, the government needs the same products and services. They need landscapers, cleaning, janitorial services, air conditioning, heating, plumbing repairs. They need to buy gas, electric. They need properties, rental units, buildings, construction. We'll talk about that a little bit more on. Roofing, masonry, drywall, painting, road repair, tile and flooring, food, catering service, baked goods, bottled water, clothing, uniforms, paper and paper products, office products. They need machines, they need computers, they need IT services, printers, cabling, software licenses. They need consulting, management services, training, printing, stationery, and toilet paper. Yep, toilet paper too. The list is too large to share. It really is that large. Think about it. In the time we have right now, I can't go over all the items they sell, but you can pretty much be guaranteed whatever you're producing, whatever your service is, whatever your product is, they most likely buy it. So let's look at those numbers. Let's see if this interests you. So we talked about the small business service stations, right? Take a look at the actual results from all federal-wide contracts. This is from 2017 to 2019. Look at the achievements of each small business category, those certification categories, and what they reached. In 2017, $105 billion, or 23.8% in prime contracts. That means small businesses doing direct business with the federal government, a federal government agency, went to small businesses. What you don't see on this chart is another 75 billion in subcontracting dollars were awarded to small business. So what you're seeing on the screen right now, this is prime doing direct. But then there's also money. Remember I said there's more than one way to skin a cat. You can not only just do business directly with the federal government, but you can also do business with a large prime who has the contract with the federal government. This makes it a huge market worth pursuing. And now is the best time to start laying down the groundwork. Right now. This is the beginning of 2022. You can sell your goods and services directly to the agency yourself. This would be what they call working as a prime vendor. Or you can work with a much larger prime vendor as a subcontractor. Remember, larger companies are selling to the government as well as many of their primes. And you have the chance, well, actually, those primes even have a requirement to sub out some of their work to small businesses. So we talked about what's set aside, what the government has set aside for small businesses, but even the primes, when they win a large contract, they have to sub out some of that work to a small certified business. So you can choose how you'd like to sell and who to. You want to sell directly to the federal government, or do you want to sell directly to primes? And I'm going to show you a number of different ways to do that, how to find them, and it's a gold mine. All right, we're talking about 2017 to 2019. Let's look at 2020 and what they did. So you can see here 2019. Here's a look at the results for 2020. The annual scorecard assesses how well federal agencies reach their small business contracting goals. So remember I said they have targets, they have to hit those targets. They're mandated to do their best to hit those targets. Every year the SBA Small Business Administration works with each agency to set their prime and subcontracting goals, and their grades are based on the agreed upon goals. Each federal agency has a different small business contracting goal, negotiated annually in consultation with the SBA, Small Business Administration. The SBA ensures that the sum total of all of the goals must meet that 23% target. Remember we talked about that before? That 23% target for the federal government, as well as the socio-economic goals established by the statute. So they've got constraints they got to work within. State, local government, and large corporations also want to buy what you sell. So besides just the federal government, guess who else? They seek to award a substantial number of contracts to certified small businesses. And we talked about some of those certified small business titles, which is minority owned, or you might hear MBE, woman owned business, veteran owned, service disabled veteran owned, HUBZone, small disadvantaged businesses. These things allow you it benefits your small business certification to get you access to city, state, and local government agencies as well. So not just federal. Think of it as a trickle down, but the proper way. So the federal government has set aside 23% goes to small business, but then also remember, money comes for the federal government to the states and the local areas. They also have set asides, or excuse me, targets to hit where they want to sell to small businesses. So most major corporations, because they too have a requirement for a percentage of the procurement to go to small businesses or certified small businesses, it allows you to be identified as a small business. And once you get certified, you can offer your goods and services to that value. If you don't have a small business certification, you can still try and still sell to them. Of course, it doesn't stop you from doing that. But as we know, that comes with a lot of challenges. And you're up against much bigger, much larger competitors. Small business certifications are a way for you to get your foot in the door, get a seat at the table, and have access to the decision makers, which, as you know, is half the battle. Just getting in the door sometimes, right? Corporate America understands that you cannot expect small businesses, especially minority-owned businesses, to buy things when you haven't done business with them. To meet their objectives, private and public sector firms search for minority-owned suppliers, small businesses through these programs. They have a formal certification process. Many Fortune 500 firms have in-house programs specifically designed to work with small businesses in the local community. So they have established specialists whose job it is to work with small businesses and help them understand how to do business with their firms. So if you're not certified, you're missing out on opportunities that have reduced competition and access to large public contracts. If that's not enough, also prime vendors look for small certified businesses to subcontract to. Prime vendors can win the large contracts that have a requirement for a percentage that must go to the certified small business. Let's look at those certifications. As I said, it's a powerful strategy. If you're not leveraging it now, you should be. Here's a little known fact. Many federal, state, and city contracts that are set aside, and I'll talk about that in a minute, they're set aside for small businesses, go unclaimed each year. I found that to be mind-boggling because those businesses do not know how to be recognized as a small business and how to market their companies. If contracting is not already a part of your sales strategy, then you're missing a large influx of sales that you could be generating. So let's take a deeper look at those certifications I've been talking about. Okay. As you can see here, small business certs are procurement tools that give minorities, women, veterans, and disadvantaged businesses a competitive advantage. Not only that, but certifications have additional benefits too. You get access to loans, financial assistance, startup funding. That's great. Guaranteed business loans. Access to databases. What is that? That's access to actually prime vendors, access to information about agencies. And I'll talk about that a little bit more. You get information on what they need. You get information on past contracts won for that same product or service. You get access to networking opportunities. You get to meet with procurement staff. You get inside the scoop on upcoming contracts. You get access to educational opportunities, technical assistance, and training. It's wonderful. I'll tell you, I've used it personally, and that's why exactly why I'm talking about it, because I've personally taken advantage of this, and I've seen how wonderful this can be, and what an advantage it is for small business owners. So let's look at woman-owned businesses. Now, as you can see here, there's a number of different ways to go. So let me just take one step back and talk about small business certifications in general. I've picked the top, I'll say, top 8 areas of certification. There are others, but these areas I'm going to discuss are what's recognized at the federal level, recognized at large corporations, recognized by state, city, and your local government. Each one, so your state, your local county also can have their own programs. But guess what? If you go for the ones I'm showing you, it will be seen across the board. So in other words, you could get certified by a state as an MBE, but does that allow you to do business with the federal government as an MBE? No. So what I'm talking about are the certs and knowing who covers that cert or who authorizes it, who's authorized to get you certified makes a difference. So let's look at women-owned business. All women businesses must be owned and controlled by not less than 51% by one or more women who are U.S. citizens or have U.S. resident alien status. The WBE, you get access to corporate, local, state, and federal government entities committed to doing business with women. You get connections to supplier databases. We talked about that, right? Advantages in the bidding process for lucrative contracts. Now, so WBE, that is a national and a local program. So that's recognized nationally and locally, but not federally. So if you were going for federal contracts, you'll need to look at the next two. So this one slide is dedicated to women-owned businesses, right? We talked about WBE, WOSB, Woman-Owned Small Business Certification. That's a federal program. 5% of government-wide contracting goal is set aside for those certified as WOSB. You're eligible also for various set-asides. Okay? Now, EDWO just means economically disadvantaged woman-owned small business. Okay? They've got to be, for federal, it must meet SBA size standards. And we'll talk about that in a minute as well. It must be small by SBA size standards. And for the third one, the EDWSB, it also must be, the owners must also be economically disadvantaged. And we'll talk about that in a minute because you're going to see most of us fit that mold. So let's look at minority-owned business. It's a national and local program. Get you access to increased number of corporate, local, and state, federal government entities. A minority business must be owned and controlled not less than 51% by a U.S. citizen or have U.S. residency status, who are individuals presumed socially disadvantaged. So what does that mean? Socially disadvantaged. Here's who's included: Black or African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, Asian Pacific Americans, subcontinent Asian Americans. That's socially disadvantaged. So that's how you meet that requirement. Now, what does economically disadvantaged mean? You have a net worth less than $250,000. Now, that doesn't sound like too much, but guess what? It does not include your primary residence, and you have to have assets less than $4 million. think most of us, small business owners, we can fit in that. We can fit in that round hole, that square peg. So let's look at the next, sir. Veteran owned. Veteran owned businesses must be owned and controlled not less than 51% by one or more U.S. veterans. Now, for service disabled veteran, again, must be owned and controlled not less than 51% by a service disabled vet who has a service connected disability that has been determined by either the Department of Veterans Affairs or the Department of Defense. Both certifications must meet the SBA standards for a small business. And we talked about that. We'll talk about that more. The next one is HUBZone. So HUBZone business has more to do with not necessarily who owns it, it's more about where's it located. So HUBZone business must have its principal office located within a HUBZone. And as you can see on this map, you see on the screen, we know it's pretty busy there, but that map, you'll be able to go to the SBA website, which you can go to my link here, the SBEcertification.com, and go to the HUBZone link, or you can check right from the SBA map, and it will tell you what the government has listed as HUBZone areas. If your business, your primary office is located in a HUBZone area, and you have at least 35% of its employees living in a HUBZone, then you qualify. Again, they're determined by the map. You must meet the SBA small size as determined by the SBA standards. 3% of all contracting spend is set aside for businesses located or certified as a HUBZone certified business. They're also eligible for set aside and sole source contracts. 10% price evaluation, that means even if you're competing against like for like the same price, you're allowed to get a 10% higher valuation. So the last one I want to talk about, or the last program certification, is the 8A Business Development Program. You hear this called SDB, Small Disadvantaged Business, 8A. It's a business development program. It's a federal program, and 5% of government-wide contracting goal is set aside for these small businesses. You're eligible for set-asides and sole source. Now, you're considered a small disadvantaged business if you're at least 51% owned and controlled by one or more socially disadvantaged individuals who are U.S. citizens and are economically disadvantaged and small by SBA standards. So this program is only for U.S. citizens. Okay. Individuals presumed socially disadvantaged and economically disadvantaged. What does that mean? We talked about that, right? Socially disadvantaged, Black or African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Native Americans, Asian Pacific Americans, subcontinent Asian Americans. Economically disadvantaged, what does that mean? Net worth less than $250,000. Doesn't include your personal residence. And you have assets less than $4 million. That's economically disadvantaged. All right. Now we've talked about these certification programs, how valuable they are, what's available to you, the funds that are out there for you, the contracts that are out for you. Some of you may be starting out, or some of you may not be at a level where you can take on quite a bit of business. Guess what? There's help finding funding. The SBA helps small businesses get loans. You got the 7A loan program, the 7A express loan, micro loans. That's for anything under $50,000. There's a 504 loan program, and of course, I'm sure you've heard about there's disaster loans. I'm sure you've heard about the COVID and the EIDL loans out there. Start or expand your business with these loans. Get guaranteed by the SBA. Now, they have what's called a lender match program to help you find lenders that offer loans for your business. The agency, SBA, doesn't lend money directly to small business owners. Instead, it sets guidelines for loans made by its partner lenders. Community development organizations and micro lending institutions. So the SBA reduces risk for those lenders, and it makes it easier for access to capital. That makes it easier for you and I, small business owners, to get loans. So let's talk about some success stories. Who's done this? All right. Small business success story. LMG Technologies, LLC, based here in Houston. Lloyd's company provides software-based and IT services that include staffing. Okay. There's several certifications. So we talked about a number of different certifications. Guess what? You don't have to just get one. When you get, most likely, you can be eligible to get multiple certifications and leverage each one. So Lloyd's background was in IT. He had an emphasis on software development and support. After working several years in the industry, he established his company back in 2006, focusing on software and IT services, including staffing, right? So LMG targets corporate as well as local, state, and federal government agencies to do business. Remember earlier I talked about you don't have to change your model. If you've got strategies working for you, where how you're selling, who you're selling to, if those are working, add this as an additional strategy. That's what Lloyd did. Their first certifications were MBE, Minority Business Enterprise, and DB, Disadvantaged Business Enterprise, back in 2010. Their first time bidding on a contract was with the state of Texas for HTL programming services. Lloyd would tell you yourself, he had no idea what he was doing, and while he didn't win that bid, he was glad to have completed the process and learned from it. It took him a while before the certifications were actualized, but his first contract win was providing software training at a local college, and then it began to grow from there. Lloyd's advice to small business owners is pursue SBE certification as soon as possible. If you're not comfortable trying to figure out what's needed, then seek assistance. Once you get your certification, seek out opportunities that your cert can help you get in. Team up with experienced partners that can help you increase your chances to win for success. Here's another one. Now here's a small disadvantaged business story. Carlos Totoro. Here's an example of what you can get using certifications. Carlos was a small business owner in San Diego, California. He credits leveraging his small business certification for helping his company grow to over 180 employees and generating $30 million in 2016 alone. Since then, Carlos has won a highly competitive contract valued at more than $500 million. He provides engineering services to the U.S. Navy. Carlos used his small disadvantaged business certification to help and land those opportunities. So let's look at what women-owned businesses. Colleen Malter has a woman-owned business providing staffing solutions and cybersecurity. Colleen earned $1.4 million in business in New York City. Now, as you guys can see, these certifications can get you access to money that's sitting there and waiting for you. It doesn't mean it's free money they're going to give it to you. It's just like any other customer. You're going to have to work for it, but it's well worth it. So I couldn't give this presentation without telling you a little bit about my background. So when I started my training and staffing business, I struggled. So I'm going to be honest. I had a hard time staying afloat. Small business owner, started from scratch, didn't have a client in sight. It had I banged on doors, made phone calls, emails, network. I did everything you guys would do. I'd make some modest sales, but I struggled to make any major significant progress. My competitors were many and they had deep pockets. It seemed like I couldn't compete. And then the bottom dropped out. So things got worse. Back in 2007 or 2008, we all remember that the Great Recession because it hit us all, and it hit us hard. Global financial crisis. They called it the subprime mortgage crisis, right? Housing prices fell. People walked away from their mortgages and their businesses. Excessive risk taken by the banks and Wall Street led the values of securities plummeting, right? The recession itself killed over 170,000 small businesses. It was just a few months earlier I had discovered and got my certification. So I used this strategy to obtain my several small business certifications. It helped me get noticed, get introduced to key buyers, buyers who wanted to do business with me, buyers who helped me take off. I started doing businesses first small. So I didn't do business federally. I started with local. I did business with school districts. I did business with HISD. There was another one I can't remember. Oh, Alif ISD. Um, and then I did business with the University of Houston, a couple universities. Then I did business with the city of Houston. Next, I moved on to even bigger contracts, NASA. I was very excited when I got that contract. And I did business with the United Space Alliance, the Port of Houston Authority, the state of Texas Comptroller's Office. These were sales I would never have thought to even consider going after if I wasn't armed with those certifications. I took aim and hit the bullseye almost every time. Now, I didn't win every contract. My first one, I didn't win either. But we were just talking about where to find subcontracting opportunities. Here's some links. You don't have to find these, or you don't have to jot these down. Sure, do a screen print, but if you send me an email, I'll be happy to share the information with you too as well. You can find federal prime contracts and subcontract portions of the contracts are listed here. SBA subnet, that's where you find subcontractors who can sub out those who are looking for a small business to sub to. You can look at contracting directories. You can proactively contact them, introduce yourself. There's a lot of ways. Let's see. You can find the company names, addresses, their contact information, and reach out proactively. So now's the time to get certified. Just one click. All right. We talked about HUBZone businesses. Have you guys ever taken a seminar or attended a course and learned valuable information that could really help your business grow? Did you use what you learned? Most people don't follow through. A small number do. They get overwhelmed with too much information, right? Small business owners either didn't know how to get certified or think it's too difficult. And that's why I developed my training program. It's a video training program where I walk you through easy step-by-step training for just $3.98. You get my online video courses with everything you need to know and do. I took all the guesswork out of it. I explained each certification, what's required. There's examples, there's links to website, there's templates for you to use. There's an added bonus that I included with it. You also get what's called a cheat sheet. I made my own cheat sheet called The Art of Finding and Bidding on Government Contracts. It explains where to find government contracts. There's a number of places to go, trust me. So it helps you, instead of you having to figure all this stuff out, I did. I took the time over years and figured out and walked through each step. So I've walked the walk. I've been where you want to go. Explaining the steps, how to register, how to do business with the government, that's federal, local, and state, as well as large corporations. But when now with large corporations, they usually have their own program. They explain it on their website. But I take some examples and show you how to work with them. So it explains the proposal process, bidding process, additional tools, resources. I help you with bidding on contracts. I make it easy. And that's what I want to do because I saw so many of my colleagues stumbling and having trouble with this. I've learned it. And what I did was I took what I learned and I put it in a program, something that makes it easier for you. This is what I did. So if you guys go to SBEcertification.com, get-certified, you'll see my training programs there. And then also, you're going to see the bonus. Remember I said if you stay to the end, remember at the beginning of this quiz, I said if you stay to the end, you're going to get some free bonuses. And there's some great bonuses there just for attending the live webinar. You can access them now by clicking on a link, which I'll show you in a second, or you can actually just type in that URL and your bonuses will be on that website as well. So let me open this up for you and show you that option so you can just click the button. All right. And you should see that now on your screen. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. You don't have to use my program, or you don't have to use anybody else's program. You can do this yourself. You don't have to use it. You use my training program. You can apply for, do the work for your small business certification, figure out which ones fit you best. You can, the information's online. It's out there, right? If you take the time and effort, you can do this. There's companies out there that claim they'll get your business certified, but beware of those. Many of them are scams. The scam artists. You need to know who's a recognized authority for that certification. Certifications are granted only by certain recognized institutions, and not just anybody can get you certified. So beware. It's one of the things that's one of the reasons why I wanted to develop a program like this. I did my own research. I gathered my own data. I met directly with top government agencies, SBAs. I found all the requirements, not just for one, but for all those small business certifications. I was hungry, and I wanted to fully understand what the program was all about. I learned every aspect, how to get them, most importantly, how to use them and leverage them to earn more money, make more sales. And now I wanted to share it with you. So please click on the link, follow the, type in the link yourself to my site. You can see those programs. Also at that link, you'll find the bonus programs, the bonus offerings I gave you. We're giving you 30 days free trial access to my membership program as well. Lots of information there, it's full content. So we're at the end of time. I hope you guys have enjoyed this. I hope you found this beneficial and extremely valuable. Um, please click on the link and do take a look at it. If you're a small business owner and you're not using small business certifications as an additional strategy to finding more business, getting more customers, getting larger contracts, you want to take a look at these programs. You should be looking at these programs. All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Hope you have a wonderful and profitable new year.